Hey, what's going on, Chad?
What's up, Lizzie?
How are you?
Doing all right.
Good. I'm Lizzie. I'm here with Chad Wilson with Central Alabama Voice. We are super excited to have you in today.
It's good to be here. I'm super excited to be on the Central Alabama Voice.
Yeah, so you just rolled in from Nashville, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Doing the concert tomorrow, and excited about that.
That's awesome. So let's just start with, for listeners that don't know you, let's talk about your background, where you're from, how you got your start, and kind of who you are.
Sure. I was born right here.
Right here?
Right here in Alexander City. Matter of fact, I was the first baby born in spring of the year that I was born. So, I had won gifts. I won just by being born.
There you go.
I won gifts from the radio station, so.
You didn't have to do nothing.
No. But born and raised right here to a family of musicians, my grandparents and my parents, and of course my sister, and of course my brother plays. So, you know, we just grew up in music. We didn't have much growing up. We had music, and that's all we needed, you know.
Yeah.
Once we learned how to play the piano and the guitar, we could keep ourselves occupied for hours. So, but yeah, went to school at a private school here, a Christian school up until the 7th grade, and then I come over to Benjamin Russell, or the middle school, and graduated. And yeah, this is where I call home.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about kind of getting your start in the music industry, how that all happened.
So I was probably 15, 16 years old, and I had just listened to country music just for a little while, because we was raised, like I say, in church, and our parents and our grandparents sang gospel music. So the first voice that I heard outside of gospel music was Randy Travis when I was probably 12 or 13 years old.
That's awesome.
But that voice it had me hooked. You know, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I know this is so random what I'm about to say, but there was an ad in the Outlook newspaper for looking for singers. And gosh, this was when I was 15, 16 years old. Turns out it was a contest. So I sent off my submission, and I won, and I got to go to the Grand Ole Opry as a senior in high school.
Oh,
I went
that's
to the
so
Grand
cool.
Ole Opry and performed, and saw Nashville for the first time. I think that might have been the first time I had been out of the state of Alabama. But I loved it, and I didn't have plans at that moment to move to Nashville. I was going to go to college first, and then I eventually wanted to get to Nashville. But I did real well in school, but once I got to college, I didn't find it wasn't challenging, and I got real bored, and I was struggling just to be in school.
Where'd you go to school?
Well, I started at Southern Union.
Okay.
So, but I had to work a full-time job and go to school full-time, and you know, I know it's a lot of people. It's normal these days, but it's still hard no matter how you normalize it. Getting up at 6, going to school, getting home at 3:30, and I'd go to work at Winn-Dixie at 4 and work to midnight every night in the meat department. 2 years of that was enough, you know. I figured out that I could play guitar at these little house parties while I was in college in Auburn, and I could make more money playing and singing songs at a little house party, making tips, than I was working 40 hours all week, killing myself. So after a couple of years of it, I decided I was going to go try to chase down this dream. So I moved to Nashville.
That's awesome. So why Nashville in particular? I mean, other than the obvious, you know, country music, but is there any other kind of reason that Nashville was the place to be for you?
Well, I didn't realize how naive I was. You know, hindsight's 20/20 looking back, but all I knew about anything was what I heard about it, you know. And, you know, Garth Brooks was big at the time, and it was late 90s, you know, early 2000s, and country music was probably at that time period was the best that it had ever been.
Yeah.
And I envied the singer-songwriters, you know, Travis Tritt. My heroes was the ones who wrote their music. So Nashville, you could do music from anywhere. A lot of my friends did music from right here. A lot of successful people. But if I was going to get involved in that Nashville songwriting community that I wanted to be a part of, and if I wanted to establish myself as a songwriter, I had to be there, or at least close to it, closer than 4.5 hours.
Right.
So that was my main reason. The other reason is I just didn't know him better. I just thought that's where you're supposed to do. If you're going to make it country music,
you're supposed
you're
to go
supposed to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which that makes sense. I mean, the Country Music Hall of
Yeah.
Fame is there. I mean, a lot of very famous country music singers have gotten there, started there.
There ain't no book that tells anybody how to do it in this business. So, that's just what I knew, so that's what I went with.
That's awesome. So, tell me a little bit about your inspiration. I mean, you mentioned a couple, but where your inspiration from, not just people, but life experiences. How do you get inspiration for a song that you're going to write, or does it just hit you, or do you think about it, or a little bit of both? I mean, how do you kind of write music? Like, that's a broad question.
So I was just talking to a friend of mine about this last night, and life ain't been easy. We wasn't born with the best circumstances. Of course, our mom and our dad has always done way more than what they could.
Right.
But there was times we were challenged growing up. At times we wasn't, but we learned at an early age that music to us, what music meant to us was you had to feel it.
Yeah.
That's why we gravitated toward country music, I guess you could say, because coming from gospel, we'd do revivals, and so growing up in that environment, it can get, the spirit, in you,
right.
and so that's how I guess country music sort of was how it was chosen for us. But I was telling somebody last night, if God didn't make my life so challenging, then He wouldn't have wanted me to be a songwriter.
Right.
We've had so many obstacles in just life, and professionally and personally, just that I think was something that I was supposed to experience, because what it does, it gives me the platform to write songs about those topics that a lot of people can't express.
Right. So do you feel like, at what point did you feel like, you'd moved to Nashville, right? Did you feel like this was definitely the right move? I've accomplished what I've wanted. I mean, obviously I know you want to accomplish more. Everybody wants to, better themselves. But when was that moment that you kind of knew, like, I'm doing the right thing for me and for my life?
Believe it or not, it was more recent than it was distant. I moved to Nashville, and I was there for probably 4, maybe 5 years, and I couldn't never, there were some bad choices, bad decisions, a lot of it was just trying to live, I didn't have a foot in the door, so I had to work still.
Right.
And to pay bills to be able to live, and you get so caught up in trying to make a living that you don't get to do that what you want to do.
Your passion, yeah.
So the first 4, 5, 6 years was, to me, I can't say a waste. Definitely not a waste. I learned and I watched, and even though I wasn't able to get my foot in and participate, I mean, I played on Broadway. I was able to do some things, and I don't want to diminish any of that, but none of my goals were met. I didn't ever get a publishing deal, and that was my goal.
Right.
Didn't never get an artist deal at that time. So, and I had put out 1 or 2 CDs of my own that I thought were good quality, but so I left, but I moved away. When it got so challenging that I didn't want to keep on running myself down. So I come back to Alabama.
Right.
And here's the irony of it. When I left Nashville, I was in a relationship that was serious. But that ended real quickly and abruptly about 6 months after we had left Nashville. And so that ended, and it was devastating, but that gave me the inspiration to write a song called I'll Move On that I wrote. And that song, in turn, was given to a few friends of mine that would come down here and play music, who got it to somebody in Nashville, and ultimately that song got me back to Nashville.
Not exactly the way you thought it would turn out,
No.
but probably better than you thought it would turn out, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome. So kind of before we get into, obviously I know you guys have won a pretty big award here recently. Before we get into that, tell the listeners kind of where you are now in terms of, have you gotten some of those deals that you wanted, some of those things that you initially wanted that first time? Are you kind of where you want to be for right now?
So my brother and I, we signed this current situation that we're in. It's a 5-year deal. We signed it at the beginning of 2017.
Okay.
So under most circumstances, unusual circumstances, we would be in the middle of our 4th year right now.
Right. Oh, right.
But with everything going on, of course, it's sort of going to be set back. But we have hit every benchmark that we set out to. We're on course to hit every other benchmark with the exception of one. And I don't think it's going to be bad, and I'll get to that. I'll tell you, that's got to do with our new music.
Okay.
It's just going to be released a bit later than what we wanted, but I think everything worked in perfect timing, you know. But yeah, we had some success, you know, early on. First song we put out, first video we put out, debuted at #1. You know, that's unheard of. And second song we put out did real well. It for the first time ever, we became Billboard certified songwriters and artists, and we hit #1 on a couple of charts. You know, it was real good for us. We got the tour. Budweiser put us on their tour. We got the tour with Corey Smith for 9 months, and which was awesome for us. Corey Smith is amazing. The most amazing thing about that is, sorry to get sidetracked.
No, it's fine.
But how his organization is run so professionally and so down to the minute, and to think that he built that empire completely on his own is, to me, just incredible.
It's impressive.
No major label, no. I don't know how his funding was given, but he built that with a lot of hard work, and he's reaping the rewards of it, and it's so good to see.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit before we get into the awards, since you mentioned it, being on tour. What's like, you hear these like glamorous stories about being on tour, but then there's also some of these horror stories. Like, what's it really like? I mean, the gruel of being on the road all the time. I mean, do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you both?
All the things that you would think would be bad about it is bad.
Yeah.
And all the things that you think would be good about it is good. You got to find a good balance, you know. You got to find joy in simple things.
Right.
You get to do some incredible things. I mean, not a lot of people can say they've been to every capital, every state, and performed here and there and shook hands with presidents. There's definitely some things that music allows us to do that most people don't. But we also have to put up with a lot of things that most people can't, or most people wouldn't.
Right.
And being away from the family for me is the hardest.
Yeah.
Kyle's in a different situation, you know. He gets to take his with him. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that, but to me, that's always the hardest thing. But what at the end of the day, what's good about it and what's bad about it don't really matter, because we have such amazing people that support us everywhere we go, that once we get to where we're going and we see those smiling faces that hadn't seen us in a year, and they're ready to hug us and feed us with a home-cooked meal because they think we haven't eaten a home-cooked meal in so long, but we just ate one yesterday. You know what I'm saying? We got those kind of people in our system, and that's our fans and our friends, and to us that's what makes it all you know, worth it.
Right. So tell me about this award that you guys recently won.
We won the NEMA Award. This was the second year in a row that we won the NEMA Award for Best Country Duo or Group of the Year.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's super cool. So last year, and I have a cool story if you want to hear it. Last year,
of course.
to be nominated last year as the first time nominee, we was ecstatic. You know?
Yeah.
We was nervous. We didn't know what to do. You know, we knew we was nominated about a month before the award show, or maybe 2 months, because whatever. To be nominated, we thought that was good enough for us. We won already.
Right.
So, you know, we didn't anticipate winning by no means. But about 2 weeks before the award show, no, this was last year, we did sort of have a little meeting about it, and we decided that just in the rare small case that we did win this award, only one of us should talk for all of us.
Right.
And that should be a short, concise little paragraph that thanks the people that we want to thank, and let's just enjoy it and be done with it. So we worked on this paragraph, and we got this paragraph done, and we decided that Kyle was going to be the one who would give the speech should we win an award.
Right.
So to me and the guys in the group, we didn't think anything about of it. You
Right.
know, no speech prepared or nothing.
Oh no.
So here we are at the award show, the night of the award show, in this big, huge, beautiful ballroom downtown Nashville, and we're sitting front row. I mean, it's just an amazing experience. And what distinguishes the NEMA Association, the NEMA Awards from a lot of other, you know, of that type is they don't just focus on one genre specifically. They cover every genre. They have
Oh, cool.
They have jazz.
It's not just country music.
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And the validation. Now, there's only one member of each genre that can nominate people to be able to win an award.
Right.
So those people are powerful people. Mm-hmm. There's only one of each genre, right? And the lady that's in the country music genre, she's also on the Grammy Award. She's a board member for the Grammys and a Grammy voter. So with her nominating us,
right.
Knowing the talent that she sees and the music that she's around, for her to believe in what we're doing, that was the validation.
Right.
You know, the award, that's fine too, should something happen and we win it, but our validation comes from being nominated by her.
Just being recognized.
So here we are, the night of the awards. They get up and start, award show, and 2 hours have went by. Now, being every genre, it takes a little time. So 2 hours have went by. And, they had shut. There was a little bar right outside before you walked into the ballroom, but they had shut that down when the award show started.
Okay.
Because they didn't want the doors to be opening and people coming in and out. Well, Kyle didn't know that.
Oh no.
So here we are, and he
I see where this is going.
He gets up to go try to maybe find him something to drink and use the bathroom, and not knowing that he had to go down 5 flights of stairs to get to the next bar.
Right.
And the not even 10 seconds after he has left the auditorium, they're up there saying, and the nominees for the best country duo of the year are. So I knew it was fisting. If we won this, what am I going to do? I'm sitting there freaking out. I mean, I don't know what.
Like hoping we don't win at this point.
It crossed my mind. But it was. Believe it or not, one thing about me that most people probably wouldn't know is it frightens me to death to talk in front of people. I can sing. Give me a microphone and a guitar, and I'll sing all day. But when it comes to talking, it frightens me. So I'm sweating. Got my family with me, and our team's with us right there, and everybody's just so proud to hear our name being called as one of the nominees.
Right.
And it seemed like an hour went by, but only just a minute went by, and then I heard the lady say, "And the winner is," and I looked around just to see if Kyle might have been coming back, and there's no sight of him. And they called our name, and the place was going crazy, and I was, Lord, I don't even know what all I did. I'm sure I hugged everybody. But I walked on that stage, and I was frightened, and then had no speech, and all I could come out with was, "Thank you," and that took a lot.
And you just walked away?
Well, I couldn't think of nothing to say, and just as soon as I was fixing to start saying something, I saw that big tall door, that wooden door from the ballroom open up, and here comes Kyle running.
Running through.
And people knew something was up, so you're starting to hear the crowd laugh and stuff because here he comes running. Well,
that's so funny.
He makes it to the stage with enough time before they kick us off to actually give the speech, which was just short, but we won. And
that's very cool.
We won't never forget that.
Yeah.
Winning it this year was, it's hard to get a goal met, but it's even harder to maintain that.
I was about to say, I would almost think the second year, because you've got like that pressure, like now you're the best, like can you still be the best, 2 years later, that's impressive.
We've worked our butts off, but we got a lot of good people that contribute that, oh my goodness, we couldn't do any of it without some of these people, and so this year was for them. Last year we dedicated the award to the fans, the ones that voted, and this year too, obviously.
Oh, it's a fan vote.
Well, the nomination process isn't.
Right.
But once you get the nomination, then fans participate too.
That might be even more impressive, I think. Because it's one of those, like, I always look at movie reviews and I never look at, like, what the experts say, because they, like, go into the cinematography. And I'm sure all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, but to me, it doesn't. Like, I want to know if it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? So as a fan, I read fan reviews. So I would think that's, to have the nomination by somebody who really understands music and all that, and then to have the fan validation is pretty impressive.
We got the best fan base out there, and I'll say it. And I've said it since 2-3 years now. We got some great people that believe in us, and
it's very cool.
They're everywhere we go.
That's awesome. So, what are some of your favorite places to play?
Oh well, we had our first Roadie Fest this past week, and what that was a free show that we put on and invite all of our closest fans. We got a fan club.
Oh, cool.
And of course, they get invited, but anybody can come. Anybody who wants to come, fan or not. We hope you're a fan when you leave. But it was our first one, and it was a huge success. I think we ended up having fans come from over 7 different states. It was down in Louisiana. We had a great time, and when the show was over, we got to, go out and just hang out with everybody all night long.
Yeah.
And it was so cool.
That's cool.
So that has been my favorite this year by far. I mean, this year's
been weird.
So I look forward to Roadie Fest 2 already. But some of the theaters that we played Princess Theater a few weeks ago in Decatur. Mm-hmm. Gosh, that was such a great experience, great show. Just being in these old theaters and knowing that the people that come and sit in those seats are sitting there to listen to you and not to be there for any other reason. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. So one of the things I want to know is I'm always interested to hear, like the fans, right, probably have their favorite songs and your most popular songs that they connect with. But I want to hear from you, like, are there any songs that maybe your fans, not that they don't like them, but that aren't their favorite, but like you're really proud of it, or what's your favorite of y'all's song?
Well, on our record, our first record, obviously It All Looks Good From Here, and Alabama Will, are probably my 2 favorite. Alabama Will, to be such a song dedicated to Alabama, that song is so requested everywhere we go. And,
that's awesome.
No matter what state we're in, they love Alabama Will.
Yeah.
And we try to, appease everybody, and I'll change the last time I say Alabama Will in the song, I'll try to say the state that we're in.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'll give them one. But definitely probably Alabama Will. But It All Looks Good From Here. I knew that was. I had heard that song a couple of years before when Kyle wrote it 6 or 8 years ago. I don't remember how long ago it's been, but I had heard it a couple of years before we was in the studio recording it. But I knew when I heard it that if we ever got a chance to record it, it was going to be a special song, and it turned out more than I expected. I mean, that was the first song we come out with, and it sort of launched where we are now.
That's awesome. What is kind of your writing process? I mean, does Kyle do more of the writing, or do you collaborate, or do you kind of do one song and he does another, or what's kind of that process like, or writing the music too? I mean.
Well, I will say this: we don't have no set way of doing anything.
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of tendencies, and I tend to write a lot more than Kyle.
Okay.
But there's times where I could go 2 months without writing a song, and he might write 6 or 8 in that same period of time. So, You know, it's an ebb and flow.
Okay.
Sometimes we're on it together. I mean, Loving You, Loving on Me, the second song that we released that did real well for us. We sat on the front porch and wrote that song in 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So we write together. Then I've got people that I love to write with that I think are incredible, and I look forward to every time I get with them. One of my friends, Eric Erdman, down in Mobile, and Lance Dubrock down in Louisiana. Two of my good friends I love writing with. Anytime we can get together, especially us three, it's hard to get all three of us together. But I just love anytime I get to spend with either one of those guys, because to me they are so good at what they do, and they make me so much better. This new record, I think Eric's got at least 2 or 3 songs on it, and one of them being a fan favorite song called How You Don't.
Okay.
It's such a good song, but Eric was Eric and Lance both helped me with that song, and so it depends. It varies, you know. We don't have a set style. I wrote a song last night and didn't even mean to. So.
It's funny that you mentioned the song. I forget which one you said it was that you wrote in 15 minutes. But I always say, having been a journalist for so long, sometimes I work so hard on a story, and I'm like, this is it. Everyone's gonna love it. This is gonna be my best thing ever, and no one reads it. And then I work 3 minutes on a story, and it's like the best thing, you know. So do you have any of those that you thought were gonna be the greatest thing ever, and they weren't, or vice versa, they were the greatest thing ever, and you thought, I did that in 5 minutes. It kind of sucks.
Well, ironically, A Little Love. The song that is the concert's named for. That song probably took three, maybe 4 years to write.
Really?
But it come together in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the original song, before we had done any of the remixing on it, which turned out to be an amazing thing, was written. Me and Davis Nix, another songwriter friend of mine that lives on the Gulf Coast. Him and I had the chorus of it written. I ain't got no weight on my shoulders. Nothing gonna get me down today. I got the sunshine when it's colder. A little love goes a long, long way. We wrote that in my backyard 5 years ago, or no, 4 years ago. But we could never, ever get anything to go with it.
Right.
We'd get together time and time again. Months would go by. We'd think about it. We'd get together. A year went by. 2 years went by. 3 years went by. And then I met this guy from Alabama named Charlie Argo. And I love Charlie Argo. And Charlie, I helped Charlie a lot because I don't want him to make some of the same mistakes and waste a lot of time that I did, because Charlie's a lot younger than I am. So I try to help Charlie as much as I can. And by one of those ways of helping him was I wanted to write with him and help him get some good music. Well, he ended up helping me. And maybe the second time we got together to write, we were both sort of stuck and wasn't getting nothing done. So I just went through my phone of some old stuff, and I ran across that song that Davis and I had. Yeah. And I just mentioned it to him, and I sang it. And 15 minutes later, we had the rest of that song done. So even though it took that long to write.
Right. The actual portions of it wasn't,
And then, which was, that's a cool story, but then you go further than that. We had a video for it shot within 3 or 4 weeks of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, so
now there's a whole concert around it in 3 months.
Yeah, 3 years of nothing happening to it, till all of a sudden everything happened in 3 months, and then we got a concert.
Yeah. So I do definitely want to talk about the concert and that song in particular. I don't want to forget anybody, so tell me all the artists that are part of that song.
Okay. So Jason Tapley is the reason that song is even possible.
Okay.
Bo Jones, Tre Cinco, ATK. They are the 4 featured artists on the song. Of course, me and Kyle.
Right.
And then I had already said Davis and Charlie and I originally wrote the song. So I think that's everybody that's involved with it. Now Jason, with his studio here in town that I'm sure y'all have heard of.
Of course.
He early March, I was just in town. I just went by a studio, and some of these songs I had written, I just wanted to record just acoustic vocally in his studio, just knock them out, just so I could have something to listen to.
Right.
Well, the night that I was there, the studio had a lot of guests, and everybody that sung the song was a guest at the studio that night. That just pop in.
Yeah.
And I was singing the song "A Little Love," and ATK and Tre Cinco and Bo all showed up while I was working on this song. It's got good energy, right? And so the energy was good. And so just spontaneously, I just said, "Y'all want to be on this?"
Yeah.
And I looked at Jason. He's like, "That's a good idea."
Yeah.
Well, once again, 10 minutes. Tre Cinco and ATK each sit down and wrote their part for this song in less than 10 minutes. And 10 minutes after that, they were in the vocal booth singing their part. A week later, Jason sends me an email that's got the song in it with everybody in it, and I was just amazed at
that's so crazy
how it turned out. It was really, I mean, great. I don't know. I can't explain it. It was really a magical experience.
Well, and I think what's so great about that song, and if our listeners haven't heard it, obviously they should listen to it. I think, it's got something for everybody, right? Like, it's got so many different genres and so many different kind of vibes all in such a short period of time. And the timing of it, when it was just like a disaster zone in the world, with people are dying and COVID, and you don't know what's going to happen, and kids are out of school, and we all just needed a little love, right? Like, so it was perfect in that sense, to me, I thought.
Most time when you do something, you don't do it for the reason that it ends up becoming.
Right.
And that's a classic case. It's a good song, and we just love that song, and I wanted them to be on it, but just to add something to it because it wasn't going to hurt nothing. Who would have known that it would have ended up being, like you just said, released in the middle of a pandemic,
right?
When the world's going crazy. I mean, all that was a bythought for sure, but none of it was the reason for anything. The reason that song was possible because a group of guys come together that genuinely love music and was able to add their personal flavor to something that would become bigger than each one of us individually.
Yeah.
And so from there to be able to do a video and then do a concert obviously was nowhere near our thought process when we started it, but that's what it's ended up becoming.
And also kind of retrospect, not just in the middle of a pandemic, but then fast forward a couple months and so many tensions race-wise, and to have very vastly different looking people as well as musically different people come together is very cool. It's very cool to see, and it's very cool as kind of how it all turned out. I think so.
Well, being from Atlantic City, I know I haven't really, and I can't say that don't, but I never experienced a lot of what they tell us. Our community's always been a good, close-knit community. Yeah. And we was raised to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right, like people, yeah.
And that's how we judge our friends and people that maybe ain't our friends.
Right.
And there's no other reason. There's no other means of figuring that out. So we just, we treat people with the respect, as long as they treat us with respect. So, yeah, it's ironic that all this was going on. And once again, that wasn't our intention.
Right.
But it just worked out so well.
Yeah.
It just sort of happened at the right time.
Yeah. So obviously you're into country music, clearly, but you've got these other genres in the song, and just understanding music. I'm sure you appreciate other, but do you have any guilty pleasure genres that you listen to some Britney Spears sometimes, or so what's your most embarrassing guilty pleasure genre, if you will,
goodness.
Or artist? Do you ever kind of roll down the road listening to NSYNC or?
Backstreet Boys was my jam.
Good.
I mean,
I'm glad you said Backstreet Boys and not NSYNC. Actually, I have respect for that.
So I was part of the generation that had Columbia House.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yep.
I think for 1 penny you get 10 CDs.
Yeah.
A month.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
I mean, my first order was Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion, Boys to Men.
Right.
Garth Brooks, Mr. Big. I was a lover of all music.
Yeah.
Like I say, was raised to feel music.
Yeah.
I love music that I could feel. If it felt good, I liked it.
Yeah.
And that's still true today. I mean, I'm sure some people would call them guilty pleasures, but sometimes good music is,
Yeah, I used to be more embarrassed about my musical selection than I am now. Now I'm like, if I want to jam out to Will Smith getting jiggy with it, like,
yeah,
that's what I'm feeling at that time, Sometimes you just got to go with what you feel.
Yeah, Black Eyed Peas,
Yeah.
I even got a Ludacris track in my truck right now.
See, there you go. It's funny. Yeah, I think it's so, and what's so great about music, right, is I think it's people just have that visceral connection with it. There's that song that takes you back to like an exact moment. You feel that exact emotion that you felt, or that person that you were with or something, and it's like, even there are certain songs where 15 years later it's like, God, I remember doing that to that song or whatever, Yeah,
it can transport you back, and you can feel the exact same feeling that you felt 15 years ago. That's
it's
amazing.
Crazy. It's really crazy.
It is.
So you guys, by the time this airs, the concert will have happened already, but tell me a little bit about why you wanted to come back and not just put this song, that we've talked about, but then do this concert with all these kind of artist friends that you have here in the area.
Well, so we're not ashamed by no means of where we're from and the people that support us from this area. We are who we are because of it.
Yeah.
And we don't never take that for granted. Everywhere we go, we always are the first to let everybody know we're proud to be from Alabama. From a small town in Alabama, and we never forgot that. There's been times where we've wanted to give up, but we'd get a phone call from a friend down here or something.
Yeah.
Don't you do it? If you do, you're gonna.
Yeah.
We're all gonna hurt. Don't do it. And so it's that's what kept us going, and so we're just not, we're in a position now to be able to give back. Mm-hmm. We ain't really. There's been a lot of times where there wasn't no way we could ever thank everybody and give back.
Right.
But fortunately, because of those people, now we're able to give back, and that's what we enjoy doing. Of course, it's home too. Anytime we can come home and see our families and friends that we don't get to see often, it always means something to us.
So you guys are going to play all separately and then come together at the end, I understand it, to perform the song. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, so we ain't gonna have, so we do have an outline, but there's no telling how it's gonna go.
Yeah, that's how we do it here in Alex City. We just go with the flow, right?
That's right. It is what it is, right? And it is what it's gonna be. But yeah, so Bo's he's got a 3-piece band.
Okay.
So I think Bo's gonna be kicking the night off. He'll do some of his originals, I'm sure, and then you'll get to hear a couple of other guys. You get to hear Tre Cinco and ATK, and everybody's got their own genre and their own music, so everybody gets to do their own thing. And then Charlie Argo is our special guest for the night.
Okay.
He's got some new music coming out that's going to blow everybody away, so I'm so ready to hear him. And then Jason's going to come out during the middle of our set and sing a couple of songs, and then we're going to get everybody. Now this is the plan. We're going to get everybody on stage to sing the song "A Little Love," and we're going to have cameras here. We got a four-man camera.
Oh, cool.
Video shoot coming down that's going to follow us around all evening, before the show, after the show, during the show, and hopefully, sometime in the next few weeks we'll be able to maybe have a DVD or something that people can maybe buy for a couple of bucks and always remember that night.
Yeah, that's very cool. So why are you excited to, play the song live? You kind of obviously had a
COVID.
An emotional connection to the song. Obviously, when you were talking about it, you can tell that it means something to you. Why is it important to get with your buddies and play it live?
Nashville can be so cutthroat, competitive. Even musicians around here can be competitive. Fortunately, I have colleagues in the music business that live here that'll smile at me and tell me it's so good to see me face to face, and then the moment that you turn around, you know, it's completely opposite. And that's fine. That's more a reflection of them than it is us. We've never been that way. We've always tried to be inclusive, and our whole career is evident of that. Our last album, we did a remix with several other country music stars. We redid it, All It's Good From Here. On this upcoming album, we've got some special guests on there that's gonna be such a huge surprise for everybody. Obviously, I can't say right now, but. So we've always tried to be inclusive and include everybody, and this is just more of that, you know.
Yeah.
When magic happens that night in the studio, when we all sat there and this happened, we all knew there was something special about it.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to maybe try to recreate that magic one time and do it in front of our hometown crowd, that's why it's so special.
That's awesome, and I think to do it on Main Street, you know, where you guys shot the video.
Yes.
You know, all right there. It's very cool.
Stacy fought for me on that. I wanted to do it right there where the video was shot, and Stacy made it happen, and I can't thank her enough.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. You've alluded a little bit to the new music, so tell me about that. What's kind of on the plate for you guys?
The best that we've ever had. This new song, this new album, we'll finish it up a week from today. Today is what, the 1st of September?
No, today.
When it airs?
Oh, right. Oh, yes, when it airs. It'll be the 1st of September, yes.
All right, so a week from today, we are back in the studio for another 2 or 3 days to put the final vocals on the record, and it's done. So by the time it gets shipped off and mixed and mastered and sent back to us, we hopefully will have a complete album by the end of September. And our management team has got big plans for it. But some of these songs, we've already come out with some of them. People know 2 or 3 of them already. They and request them, you know, which is so great. Yeah. That they will know the songs before they're already. It's so good. But there's some songs in there that ain't nobody ever heard that's going to be some surprises. And like I say, we are completely all in on it, and we love it. You know, our goal was on this record to walk away knowing that we put our absolute best in it, and we have. When we finish this record up next week, that's awesome. That's what we're going to leave on the table. Now, is A Little Love ever going to be on a record? Like, if you want to listen to it right now, do you just have to see the video? No, because of the COVID, you know, our manager has. There's a few reasons why it ain't out. Okay. One, we still got to get licensing and everything for everybody else on it. Right. But the main reason it's not out as a single that you can download and listen to, it's just a video, is because it's just got to be done right. Okay. But is there a hope that will eventually happen? Hope. Okay. We have recorded the song that is not a remix version, and of course that won't never be released as a single, that version. The remix will always be the single. Right. But there's some things that we've had to do in order to make it happen, and we're working on it. It's going to happen. Gotcha. So before we end here, I want to talk to you about, you know, we've talked a lot about how you're from here, you're proud of being from here. You know, there are a lot of people who think, I don't know if a lot of people think, but a lot of people could think, oh, I'm from a small town in Alabama, or a small town anywhere. I can't do it. I can't be a musician. I can't be a football player. I can't be a, you know, CEO of a company. Obviously, that's not true, right? Like you've proven that. So what would kind of be your advice to a youngster who wants to follow in your footsteps from Alex City or somewhere in Central Alabama, to just say, hey, like you can do it? I think my advice would be a person that you would want to hang out with. Because if you're a good person, that's going to get you a lot farther than sometimes even talent, sometimes even your work ethic. Being a good person is going to get a lot of people a long way in life. And our industry ain't no different. There's a lot of bad people in our industry. I mean, we got a song on record called "The Devil." You know, it's almost like we've shaken his hand. He's real, you know, and you never know who he is and what shape he's going to be.
Right.
But just being a good person will go a long way.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to follow that up with talent and hard work. But that I think that would be the advice I would give myself had I to do it all over.
Yeah, and I also think like just go for it, right?
Yeah, don't listen to what nobody says. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, you know, it's at some point, like you said, you realized the college thing wasn't right for you. And that's okay. You know, that's not for everybody. And go after what makes you happy and what you're passionate about. Yeah. That's what I think. So, in terms of, you know, how much do you see yourself coming back to Alex City, to Central Alabama? How much do you guys play here regularly? How often are you around?
Past couple of years, you know, we come back and do some acoustic stuff. We'll bring the band back every now and then and I think we did a show up in Silicaga this past year.
Oh, cool.
For the what is the young youth group that a lot of you guys are part of?
Oh, Young Professionals.
Young Professionals. We did a show for them in Silicaga.
Yeah.
But coming home, well, that's something I always do.
Yeah.
Our music schedule will dictate how much we come home.
True.
But anytime we can come home for any reason, I'm in. Like, I like being even a guest judge on some of the Collage Idol stuff.
Oh, cool, yeah.
You know, because I get to come home to do that, especially during the summer. Lake Martin, you know, I got a lot of things that I'm fixing to be a part of with Lake Martin. And so, yeah, it's home, and I don't need no reason to come back.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out while you're here to come sit down with us. And like I said, I think that, you know, people like yourself are just an inspiration to young people in Central Alabama to say, hey, we're from Alabama, but we can do it, you know?
Yeah. Just don't listen to, you know, as you say that, I'm thinking about somebody who might, you know, have a dream to do something, and just don't listen to anybody else. Follow your heart, and do what makes you happy, and do it the best that you can.
That's awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the new album. I'm excited to hear it, and I hope a lot of people will have come to the concert. I'm excited to see that too.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thanks for having me, Lizzie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I ain't got no weight on my shoulder, nothing gonna get me down today. I got the sunshine even when it's colder. A little love goes a long, long way. A little love goes a long, long way.
Imagine if this world ended tomorrow. Would you be proud of the life you made? 'Cause each breath we breathe is borrowed. You're gonna have to give it back someday. Hey,
I ain't got no weight on my shoulders, nothing gonna get me down today. I got the sunshine even when it's colder. A little love goes a long, long way. A little love goes a long, long way.
To help you took a lot of me. I could've probably been down at my lowest when you asked me. I'm built strong, no need to thank me. I'm just glad I got the car, we doing good, quite frankly. Ain't nothing gonna bother me. If it's not the good vibes, there ain't much that you can offer me. If the love ain't genuine, then I'm just gonna focus on myself again. The one and only.
I seen the brighter side of the moon, drowned in my feelings. I felt like I was a monsoon. I felt like I had no one to help and I was close to my doom. I didn't know what to do, down on bad decisions. I couldn't move. Of course I had to climb out the hardest living, make a difference with my provisions and help the real ones who was there with me. 'Cause Lord knows they didn't resent me when the devil was the only one who was trying to take me.
Well, yeah, I'm back now to take all that worry that you've been dragging.
all that pain.
You gotta take that pride, throw it away.
Stand up and
Oh yeah, 'cause all we got right now is all that matters.
all that matters.
Can't get so caught up in yesterday. Oh no, I ain't got no weight on my shoulders. Nothing's gonna get me down today. I got the sunshine even when it's colder. A little love goes a long, long way. A little love goes a long, long way. Yeah, I'm alright. I got my baby riding by my side. Even though we're just getting by. By God, it's a beautiful life. Ain't got no weight on my shoulder. Nothing's gonna get me down today. I got the sunshine even when it's colder. A little